Guitar Hacks. This is a new episode of Guitar Hack. I haven't done one in about 4 months, so I figured it's about time that I do one. This one I'm going to do is regarding the Les Paul Standard Traditional that I picked up recently. By the way, I'd like to thank everyone for watching my Marshall video where I compared the Hayes to the DSL. I got over 1,000 views on that, so that's great, and also got some comments, which is terrific. But this video I want to talk about this thing, which is the Gibson Les Paul Standard Traditional. This is the Light Burst. I want to go through this guitar, play some of the sounds, and talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to get in depth with the specs because all of this is pretty much online. But there's a couple of things about this guitar that I want to point out that I really, really like. Alright, so just starting from the top to the bottom, just going to go through this quickly. So on the top, it's got some Grover tuners on it, and they're locking tuners, which is really cool. Rosewood fretboard, it's got the Gibson binding, which is cool. Well, I mentioned there's two things I really like. One thing that I really like on this guitar is the neck. Now, this is what they call an asymmetrical neck. Which I think they've done on earlier models, but basically what it means is when your hand is down at the first fret, it basically feels like it's almost like a 60s slim taper, but it's a little bit flatter on the bottom side than it is on the top, so the curve is kind of up here instead of down the center. And what happens is as you move up the fretboard, this end where the high strings are kind of flattens out a little bit. So it's much more comfortable when you wrap your hand around it to play. It's more ergonomic. It really helps to get your hand around it to play up here on the higher strings, because it kind of like flattens out here when you get to the end. Now, one thing about this being a traditional is the neck width is the same as previous Les Pauls. It's not a wider neck or anything. But with that asymmetrical, without it being a wider neck, it still gives you the illusion that you've got kind of a little more real estate when you're up here playing, which makes it real comfortable. And if you've got small hands like I do, every little bit helps. So that's one of the things I really like about the neck, is that asymmetrical shape there. And it's I guess if you were to compare thickness or radius, the closest I would say is this is basically like a 60 slim taper, except of course for that asymmetrical thing that I mentioned earlier. So that's one thing I really like about this guitar. Getting down to well, again, it's a maple top, mahogany body, typical. This one had a nice flame on it. The other thing that I really like, the other thing I'm going to point out, is the pickups on this guitar, Burstbucker Pros, which I find these pickups to be, compared to say the 57s, a little more poppy, a little more aggressive. But also articulate, so not overbearing or fizzy. Like the sound is there, the sound pops. This really cuts through a mix, or when you're playing with bands. This sound of this guitar really cuts through because it is very poppy. There's a lot of attack, which I like. But the big thing with this is, now being a standard, like a lot of the standards previously, all these pickups split. They all tap. So I have coil taps on the neck pickup. I have a coil tap on the bridge pickup. That's nothing new. What is new is that for the first time, in my experience anyway, when I coil tap these, I lose absolutely no volume and no signal on this guitar, which means that I can, be playing a gig, coil tap to get more of a thinner sound, or more of a Fendery type single coil sound on a song, and I don't have to adjust my amplifier, I don't have to adjust any pedals, I don't have to adjust anything, because I am at the same volume that I was previous. And then you pop it back in and you don't have to touch anything. This is great. Every other split tapping configuration I've come across, and I've got a couple of other Les Pauls, as soon as you split, your volume drops. And this one does not, which means that I can use this in a gig, and I plan to tomorrow actually, and it works beautifully. Okay, for those who aren't familiar, Basically what it is when how this tapping works is when you're in the rhythm position, There's your rhythm volume. You pop that, you basically take in that and tap that coil, so you're going to get more of a single pole, or yeah, more of a single coil sound. Pop that down and you get the full humbucker. When you put it in a treble position, it's exactly the same thing. With the treble volume, you pull it, you tap that coil, you put it down, you get the full humbucker. The other nice thing here, and again this has been done on previous standards, is you have a blow switch, which is your tone for your bridge pickup. When you pull that up, regardless of what position your toggle switch is in, or which volumes you have set or anything, when you pull that up, it automatically sends all your signal through your bridge pickup at full volume, basically at 10 and out. So that comes in handy too when you're playing, and maybe you want your tone down, you want a little bit of a different tone, a little less volume, and then you want to go for a lead instead of hitting a boost pedal or whatever. You can pull that up and it sends everything to the bridge and out. So that's like a blow switch. Everything will just go through your bridge and out at full volume. So that's cool. The other thing this does is, if you put the switch in the middle here, where you're using both pickups, is the tone for the neck. When you pull that, that gives you that out of phase, they call it the Peter Grain sound. It basically gives you a bit of a kind of a quacky type of character when you're playing, which they've had that, I think, on previous models too. But again, for me, the two main selling features for this was the neck, the asymmetrical neck, which is super comfortable, at least for my hand, and the fact that I can split these pickups and not lose 1 ounce of volume on this guitar. Alright, so as I mentioned earlier, this is a Les Paul Standard Traditional. There is a Les Paul Standard Modern, okay, not to be confused with this one. The difference between, here's my dog, my biggest fan. The difference between keeping the traditional and the standard, between the two, is, the modern and the traditional standard. The differences are, I think the modern has the E-tune, the modern has programmable, where you can actually program what your tone splits do. I think it's a slightly different neck. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want you to confuse the two. What I've been talking about here is the Les Paul Standard Traditional. Okay, so just to give you an idea of some of the tones, I'm plugging this into, basically right now I'm going straight into, as for my, you might know from my last video, my trusty Marshall DSL 40C. Fantastic amp, love it. I will do another video soon with my, I just picked up a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, so I'll do a video on that soon, but right now I'm sticking with the Marshall for now, because it's a Gibson and Marshall, they go together hand in hand. So so just to sort of demonstrate some of the things I was talking about in terms of the splitting. So right now I'm at 10 on everything. I'm in the bridge pickup. I'm going to play a few chords. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to split it, and you'll notice that there's no difference in volume. Play them back to back. So here's a split, humbucker, split, humbucker. So that alone is phenomenal for me anyway as a guitar player. So I'll do the same on the bridge. So here's the bridge. And I'll split it. Split. Can't tell. So again, it maintains its volume beautifully. I'll do the I'll show you how the out of phase things work. So I'm in the middle position. I'm gonna pop that out. So this will now put these two pickups out of phase. So you can hear it's kind of a very quacky sound. Very quacky. Now I guess there are uses for this. I'm a little out of tune. But I don't know, I don't, not that I can come up with, haven't had any need to use that. But it's there if you want. Here they are in phase, so you can hear a huge difference. So this is in phase, this is out of phase. Okay, so that's what that does. Now the blow switch, so what I'll do is I'll put it in the middle position, or maybe what I'll do to sort of show it even more is I'll put it in the rhythm pickup and I'll turn that volume down to about 6. So I'm on the rhythm, which is the neck, so I'm on the neck right now, so I'm playing away. And then I want to go to a lead, and I pull the tone on the bridge, and I get this. So everything now goes directly through that pickup and out. So that's with the blow switch in, and then with it out. So that's what that does. So those two features make this a really, for me anyway, a really important this reason for me to get this, just because they're, it makes the guitar so useful, and which is why I ended up picking it up. The last thing I needed was another Les Paul, but anyways, that's it. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope this kind of helps you out if you're in sort of the decision process of maybe getting a Les Paul or one of the newer standards. I went through 6 of Les Pauls before I picked this one. Not that the other Les Pauls were not good guitars, but when you're picking out a Les Paul, it's, well, for me anyway, it's got to look right and it's got to play right. So some of them have too much flame, some of them don't have enough flame, some of them the teardrop's not quite right, because these are not machine made. These are all kind of hand sprayed, and they're not going to be all identical. So you may have to go through a few before you find one that you like. Fortunately, my dealer is a nice enough person to bring some, a few guitars in for me to look at and try, whatever. But this one happened to be the one that just had the look and the neck. Even the necks, which you would think they all should be the same, but in my experience, they're not. I mean, there is differences in necks from one standard to the other, and they shouldn't be, because they are hand sanded, but at the end they should be close, but sometimes they're quite different. So, but this one just happened to be the everything came together with this one. So hope you enjoy the video. Please put in some comments, let me know. I haven't been making videos recently. I'm going to try to get back on that. Thanks again for the 1,000 views on that previous video. I may be doing other ones. I might be going through some of my other guitars and talking about some of their features. I might do some verses. I'm thinking about maybe comparing this one to to a standard SG and looking at the differences in tone and sound and so on. But that's about it. Thanks very much for watching, and talk to you soon. Later, guitar hacks.